It all started in middle school, when I was around 13 years old. What seemed like a fun thing to do turned out to be the most destructive habit I have ever encountered in my life. It was not until many years later that I found the NoFap community, which gave me the support I needed to finally get rid of my porn addiction. I went from being the most insecure and needy guy that any woman could ever met to now being complimented by women for how confident and bold I am when I make a move on them. I also went from masturbating 5 times per day on a Saturday and lay all day in my bed to now being able to work on 3 businesses at the same time that I love and that are growing and making money. From personal experience, I can tell you that there's enormous potential inside of you, and pornography is your greatest enemy. I don't want you to suffer as I did, and that's why I will share with you my personal story of how I experienced all the benefits of NoFap in my life, to hopefully inspire and motivate you to take on your own NoFap journey. Make sure that you stay until the end of the video, because I will share the most powerful takeaway from practicing NoFap for the last 3 years. So, let's begin. The first real benefits appear right around day 4. Here is when you stop having self-hatred thoughts that are so common right after you have relapsed. I remember having very negative thoughts like, I'm such a pervert, who would love me if I'm so gross, and even I don't deserve love if I still behave like this. The good thing was that, a few days later, these thoughts went away. Right about the same time, I realized that my mind was sharper. For me, a day or 2 after I relapsed, I always had a tough time trying to remember things and processing information. It was very difficult for me to answer questions. Fortunately, around day 4, my mental sharpness was back, and I felt how my brain started to make better decisions, think faster, and remember quicker and better. Moving on, around day 7 or 8, you get a little taste of how your life will change when you get rid of this addiction. There was a study made by a scientist, Ming Jiang, in 2003, which showed that after 7 days of abstaining from ejaculation, your testosterone levels increase up to 145%. This, in turn, makes you feel more motivated and confident. One day, I was hanging out with some friends. There was one guy who had never liked me because I dated his all-time crush. I went to the party with the girl I was dating at the time, and suddenly this guy made a very rude comment to her in my face. I immediately told him, I don't want you to ever say something like that again to her. I won't tolerate your bullshit. Are we clear? He was stunned. He immediately apologized and went to talk to other people. I was amazed at what I just said. I didn't know I was able to stand up for myself in that way. That is what a confident man does, and I had to thank NoFap for that. If you feel you're getting value out of this video, please consider subscribing to the channel. A few days later, around the 2nd week, I remember having this sudden burst of energy. It felt as if I was on some kind of steroids. Previously, I hated waking up because I was always tired. Working during the day was a hassle and I had difficulty concentrating. But since the 2nd week, I felt amazing. I found myself waking up and feeling completely rested. I had all the energy I needed to complete a full day of work and even to hit the gym at night. Unfortunately for me, this was only a glimpse of what my life was about to look like, because around day 15 to 30, you usually hit a point which is called the flatline. This is the time when your brain rewires itself to crave real women instead of pixels on a screen. During this period, it is totally normal to lose motivation and feel a little bit lazy. You will recognize this period because your libido goes to 0 and you will not have any interest in anything sexual. But there was also very good news for me at that time. This will be the period when you will experience many benefits. At first, I realized that my porn cravings went away. I didn't have any interest in searching for porn. I knew this was my brain restoring itself to its default settings. Another powerful benefit is that your social skills will skyrocket. You will be able to start conversations with completely strangers, and yeah, that includes beautiful women, but we'll talk about it in a moment. I remember that during this time I started to make a lot of friends in the gym, especially in the weights area. At first, I was terrified of lifting weights because I was a normal dude and I was not the same size of most of the people over there. The interesting thing is that around day 30, I was no longer afraid, and I decided to lift weights to improve my physical appearance. I realized this was a great opportunity to meet new like-minded people. Long story short, I am now told that I am one of the most social guys in the weights area because I am always talking to people. They even joke with me that I go to the gym to socialize, not to train. I would say that I go to the gym to do both. I will tell you something very personal. I used to have eczema on my face, right between my eyebrows and at the sides of my nose. I used to be very embarrassed about it. I spent a lot of money on skincare products because I was so ashamed of it. I didn't want people to see me in a weird way. Can you guess what happened after 30 days of NoFap? My freaking eczema disappeared after 30 days of not watching porn. Which leads us to our next stop in the journey, which will be the second month of NoFap. This is the real turning point in which all the rest of the benefits will show up. The first thing that you will notice is that your dopamine sensitivity will dramatically increase. I remember perfectly that one day, after a long commute, I went directly to my room. I threw myself directly into my bed and plugged in my earphones to listen to my favorite music. I started to feel a sense of pleasure that I've never felt before. It was like just being alive made my life pleasurable. This is one of my favorite benefits because recovering your dopamine sensitivity will make you enjoy every aspect of your life like you have never done it before. Coming up next is the benefit that left me speechless. There are a lot of posts on Reddit about how NoFap makes you more attractive to women. I thought they were a bunch of BS, but let me tell you, it is 100% true. I think this happens because you start developing confidence and you also don't have those negative emotions that eroded your self-esteem. If you combine this with taking care of your appearance, you have a powerful combination to improve your dating life. Let me show you how. It was Saturday at noon. I needed some fresh clothes to hang out at night with my best friends. So I went to the mall to get a new shirt. When I arrived at the store, a beautiful woman greeted me and I told her what I was looking for. We walked together to the men's shirts rack and she was very helpful and flirtatious. She played with her hair. She told me I look pretty in those shirts. She smiled a little bit too much and she was super helpful with me all the time. She was very pretty and I liked her, so I asked her for her number. Next week, I invited her to have some drinks. As the days went by, we continued dating and suddenly I reached day 60 of NoFap. From this point on, the benefits became part of my everyday life. I felt proud about myself. Also, this is usually the time when people who have porn-induced erectile dysfunction start recovering. Fortunately, for me, I didn't have PIED, so I can't comment on that issue. What I can tell you is that from this moment forward, the benefits will be part of your everyday life. What I will totally recommend you is to use this tremendous amount of energy to acquire constructive habits so you will be using your energy for something useful. In my case, I decided to join a gym, practice new hobbies and work on my side businesses. In the beginning, I told you that I will be sharing my most important takeaway from this 3 years of NoFap, and it is this. It doesn't matter if you go 180 days without ejaculating, if you're still watching porn, Instagram models, and masturbating without an orgasm. If you're watching any kind of sexualized images, unless it was totally unintentional, you have already relapsed. The problem is porn. If you want to go further into the science of porn addiction, I recommend you read Your Brain on Porn by Gary Wilson. I will put a link in the description where you can get it for free. And also, if you want to get more tips like this to improve your life, you can join my Inner Circle mailing list with the link in the description below. If you're interested in learning more about the benefits of quitting porn, I will see you in the next video.